Hi there, recent progress here. So back in April, I looked at the Supergirl trailer after it was recently released. I gave a reaction to it and my thoughts and feelings about the trailer after watching it and what I expected from the film, having seen that trailer. Now, many months later, the film has now been released. I did go and see it in the cinema, which I enjoyed very much. Um, but what I want to do now, I thought would be an interesting idea, is to look back at that initial trailer reaction and see how my comments stack up. What remains true, what might be a bit different. Now, having seen the movie, how do my comments on the trailer stack up? Um, this is actually my first full length video I've been able to do in a month. So, anyone watching my channel, hi there. Great to be back. Finally, I get to record properly again, so I'm buzzing about that. It's amazing. Um, I'm even wearing the same top I did on my reaction. I did back then, to keep it one, because James Gunn, Guns of the Galaxy Connection, James Gunn, um, of course, producer on this. So did that then. Might as well do it again now. Pay homage to that earlier video. Um, and also I don't have many tops. But anyway, without further ado, let's address my Supergirl comments.
Just do what I say.
Just there. Again, very Guardians of the Galaxy, but also Star Wars looking as well. So yes, I noted that it had very much Guardians of the Galaxy vibes in that trailer there, and watching the film, yes, it's very much like that. Very colourful, that colour scheme you're used to in these sort of films, looks straight out of Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a few characters are a lot like you'll get in Guardians of the Galaxy with the aliens with weird personalities. There's a few dodgy pubs, even like Guardians of the Galaxy. They're sort of dodgy pubs, very Star Wars too. But a lot of the characters and settings are very much Guardians of the Galaxy. You could mistake them if you were shown them side by side. You probably would be mistaken. And in the movie, of course, as an extension of the trailer, there is, of course, a lot more from where that come from. There's a particular sequence on a ship, which is probably one of my favorite bits, to be fair. Really, really good, but very Guardians of the Galaxy too. It's a cool little set piece, cool little sequence. Um, but you could mistake the two um, very easily. And of course, James Gunn's specialty, the use of music. I know it was directed by director called Craig. I forgot his second name. The James Gunn producing element is very much there, and the music is one of those things. He's very good at choosing music. It's usually classic stuff from the 70s and 80s. That soulful sort of stuff. I know in the trailer there was "What Becomes of the Broken Hearted." That was pretty good. I can't remember if that's in the trailer, in the actual movie, sorry, but I think it is. There are some great songs as well. Um, but also some more modern stuff. There is The Middle by Jimmy Eat World does appear at the end. And there's a few times like that where you have like it's very acoustic sounding. I don't know if they're separate acoustic versions, or it just sounds more pronounced in the cinema. But either way, you really hear that acoustic guitar and it sounds great, to be honest. But yeah, classic James Gunn things there with a brilliant use of music. That is a highlight of the film. Again, perhaps not as iconically used as Guardians of the Galaxy, but still some really nice little needle drops and nice little music put in there.
This does not look like this is gonna end well for you guys.
Very Marvel humour there. Very Marvel humour. On a similar note to my last comment, I did note in the trailer that it did have that Marvel sense of humour, particularly noting when Kara goes, okay, this isn't going to end well for you guys. Classic Marvel humour. Um, that kind of joke style carries over. as if it is a Marvel film. You wouldn't even think, if you didn't know that the property and didn't know it was DC, you'd think it's the exact same. And that sort of, I'm not used to hearing that in a DC movie, but it very much felt exactly like a Marvel one there. Problem is, that humor can be a bit polarizing because when it's funny, but when it's not, it just falls flat. And the problem here is there's not really one particular good joke in there. There's not like a big memorable one like you might have in a Marvel movie. Those ones become quotable and become, you remember that in the film. There's not one particular joke that stands out in the film. I wouldn't say, if you know one, you've seen the film, let me know. Say it in the comments. But I couldn't remember a particularly good joke. There was just a lot of that sort of, oh, statement based um humor like that, which doesn't really hit in the screening I saw. Um it was a Sunday as well, it was a day off. For most people, very quiet. No one laughed. I don't remember a laugh from anyone, and that's not just me exaggerating to make my point. Genuinely, there was not a laugh um at any point in the movie. I really can't remember anyone laughing. So yes, that stands true. Marvel humor throughout, but nothing particularly memorable or iconic or anything you can write home about, unfortunately. And I also like, you can kind of see um that it's gonna be a kind of like buddy dynamic with Kara, Supergirl, and Lobo. So a big thing I got from the trailer was that Lobo would be great in the film, that his inclusion is a big drawing point for people, and that he would bring a lot of fun and awesomeness to the film. Yes and no after watching the film. Um, Now he was great. Jason Momoa as Lobo was great. Very good casting. He was cool, badass. Some great action with him. And you could see that Jason loved playing him. You could see he enjoyed doing that. Um, Very scene stealing when he was on the screen, because of course he just played it so well, and it's such a great character, and it's so right for him that it just fit brilliantly. Now, the downside to that, as I hinted there, is that he's not actually in the film that much. He's got quite limited screen time, really, surprisingly. Um, he pops up now and then, but really, it is more limited to what you see in the trailer. And like I say, it's great when you do see him. He is great, but he's not in it as much as I thought he would be. He was more character what pops up when they need to, then they're not there. Um, and I thought there would be more of a, which you do get from the trailer, like a buddy dynamic between Kara and Lobo. Uh Not really, because he's not there that much. There's not really that sense of that dynamic between them. It is a little bit, but really, again, it's what you see in the trailer. What you see in the trailer, and he interacts more with other characters. The interactions you see between Kara and Lobo are more what you see in the trailer. Beyond that, there's not much more. Um, Really, the buddy dynamic, which is more pronounced in the film, is actually between Kara and Ruthie, who is the girl who entrusts Kara to track down the people who killed her parents in exchange for the antidote which saves crypto. Um, that is a lot more pronounced in the film. It's kind of like an elder sister looking after her sibling, younger sibling sort of thing. So that's sweet to see. That was a really nice thing throughout the movie. That was one of my favorite parts. You really felt that. But indeed, that was more pronounced than you would get from the trailers. The trailers kind of hits home more of a Lobo and Kara thing. Really, it's more of a Kara and Ruthie thing in the actual movie. She's gonna be a very likable character, um, kind of Star Lord feeling and Peter Parker feeling. Speaking of characterizations, another thing I felt from watching the trailer was that Kara and Millie Alcock or Alcock, sorry, as Kara, Supergirl, would be very good. She'll be great in the role, perfect for it. That is true. Having watched the film, you really do get that. She is very fun, very likable. Um, Great action in there, and you can really believe that she's that powerful. Um, she's likable. She got a fun personality. Again, like I said before, very much elder sister, looking out for people, which is really cool. Um, she's going through her own stuff though. Some big stuff in there. With of course her having to exile her planet, her parents dying, all of that, of course, very big. Um, but I think Acock or Alcock does very well to balance those different elements, the fun side to her personality with the more heavier stuff. Like you do feel it, these deeper stuff. You do feel um, that it's convincing, and it does come across particularly heartfelt without taking away tonally. It's not like arguably probably better than uh, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I did. Maybe it's my hot take, maybe it's my big Marvel hot take, but tonally all over the place. At one point, really fun and breezy, other points, really intense, dare say, traumatic stuff, which probably doesn't balance so well when you watch it. Here, this balances better. Of course, it's not as intense stuff, but of course, still deep. And I think Acock or Alcock plays that really well. I'm sorry, I should know her second name well. But anyway, I think it's Alcock. But anyway, um, I thought her characterization was dead spot on. Dead on, spot on. And Millie played it fantastically. So I was right there. And the premise of the film, of course, with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it was Rocket. With this, Superdog, Crypto, the Superdog, sorry. Sticking with the story elements, something I thought when I saw the trailer is that the story would be very much a search and rescue sort of story with Crypto being kidnapped. Well, Crypto's been poisoned, so it's the same sort of thing of save someone. I know that's classic Marvel and DC and superhero stuff, but that would be very much you go after the villains, you get this thing, the person's all right, much like Guardians of the Galaxy with okay, they need to get Rocket, much like with Superman. Um, I felt at the time that it was if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, it works. It's a good setup. It's how you get your film, and if you get some fun stuff from it, then okay. Now, having watched the film, I realized yes, it was very much that. Very spot on. That was the story. No surprises really there. It was get the antidote, apprehend the villain. Now the antidote is found and the person's okay. Very much what happens. You do think there might be a surprise in there, something a bit different, something to complicate things. Really, no, not really. It is just that. And although I thought at the time, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, having watched the film, I do realize that maybe I was a little wrong there because it is very ordinary and formulaic, and it does lead to a pretty much linear and just, I wouldn't say flat, but uncomplicated, dare say unmemorable viewer experience where it doesn't feel as essential viewing. It is pretty predictable and how you would expect the film to go. Um, I'm usually okay with that because I enjoy what I enjoy, but in this case, I feel like there was a bit of okay, maybe I needed something a bit more here. This was it weren't as inventive or original or interesting as Superman or Suicide Squad or the Batman, anything like that. It was more okay. This is standard fare here, which I don't think you ever really want from a film. Although you might be okay with that. I think for here, probably more story to come with subsequent movies coming. I know Clayface is coming out as well, so that's going to be interesting. Let's hope that's not so conventional. It doesn't look it, but I do think this does suffer from being a bit too beaten track, a bit too ordinary, a bit too familiar. Um, so that's something I realized in the trailer. I was right, but maybe it's not a good thing that I was right with that. Of course, seeing Superman there was really cool. I feel like it'll probably be really minimal involvement in this. I think it probably will be just what you saw there in the trailer. Back to character involvement, I felt from watching the trailer that it was good to see Superman, but that his involvement in the film would be very minimal. And that's very much the case from watching the film. Again, a lot of what you see in the trailer is basically the extent of what you see as Superman. I think that's not a surprise for a lot of people. Well, a surprise for me. He is mostly on screen, like through a car screen, flashbacks. I won't spoil it, but there's something else which is cool. But for the most part, it is pretty much what you've seen in the trailer, flashbacks, but it's cool to see him. It's cool, nice little involvement. I don't think anyone expected much more than that. It's cool to see him, but yeah, I was right on the mark with that. So well done, uh, well done myself for that. I'm proud for my fantastic detective skills there. But yes, Superman is not in the movie very much, but that's not a shock. The last thing I wanted to address is probably what you thought the video was about. Now, I used clickbait but not. That's my own little coined phrase for what I did there. You might have thought that I was saying something mean or nasty about Millie. Far from it, just like everyone else did. No, I did not. Um, and I'll tell you why it's not clickbait. You know, I hate to say clickbait because I don't want to take advantage of an audience, but that's what I'm saying. It's not. So the thumbnail and title suggest one thing, and I'm very much not saying don't think that. You know, it leads to you thinking one thing, you think it might be that, but really, when you look at it, I'm not wrong in what I say. The title, yes, I am addressing comments, but I'm addressing previous comments about the film, Supergirl not being Supergirl herself, but being the film. And I was wrong. I was wrong. Some of the things I got wrong from watching the film. Um, so sorry to if I disappointed anyone. Um, but yeah, clip there, but not. I'm sorry. I just wanted to try that. Well, it sounds weird to explain motivation there, but I was just interested to see. I think I love doing this, and I love YouTube. So if you see something you want to emulate, I'm thinking, how would that work? Would that be something? Let's try that out. Probably never do it again, but there we are. Just tried that out. Um, but I did want to talk about it. I do think anyone saying something nasty about her appearance is ridiculous. It's unproductive, even aside from how nasty it is, or any, element of truth or whatever. It's just not, it's not nice. Why would you do that? She could be the most, you know, unpleasant looking person in the world. Does it affect the film? No. And I think everyone doing that is so mean and unhelpful and nasty. I don't see what you get from that. Um, you know, beating people down about their appearance, it's just what does it take from you? It's not a nice thing. And when I saw all of that, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, this is happening. Okay. Um, and it's just not true. It's just not true. She's gorgeous, really. She's really pretty. Um, I can't see how people see what they think or they're probably lying to themselves. I don't know. She's not unattractive by any you know definition of the word. And also, people they like to use certain screenshots of certain faces, certain expressions to use that somehow to be their evidence for why they think that. And the thing is, a lot of these, even the screenshots, it's like, she don't even look bad there. I don't know what this is. A lot of people saying feral kid from Mad Max, mean. And Will Poulter, weirdly enough, a bit of Will Poulter in there, which is quite interesting actually, because that's a weird one. Because people, they weren't quite saying he was ugly, but around like Guardians of the Galaxy free time, people were saying, "Oh, he's had a blow up. Look, he's gone from this to this," and it's like he never looked bad. Well, when did he look bad? He wasn't a bad looking person. I know people say he looks like Sid from Toy Story. That's funny. It's funny, not mean, but funny. I do remember there's a interview moment where Jonathan Ross, I think, where he says that someone actually thought someone mistook him for Sid, even though it's an animated film. They thought he was Sid in real life. But no, not a bad looking person. I don't get how people get that. Um, and such a mean thing to do to anyone. Um, but yeah, want to address that. But I'm sure many people feel the same way. It's a weird little thing. The internet can be weird, and that was one of those weird little things. What happened around the making of this film? Okay, so that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Um, does the movie live up to the trailer? Yes, yes. The things you think about the trailer, pretty much true in the film. It is one of those you can pretty much, and this is a negative thing people say about modern trailers in general. Once you've seen the trailer, you've seen the film. There is an element of truth to that, to be fair, in the film. The one thing is just the biggest thing is just that you'd think Lobo's in it more than he's not. Than he is, sorry, which he isn't. That's the one big thing. Is it a disappointment? Not so. Not really. The trailer sells you on it well, and it very much is like that. Um, it was a good film, just a bit ordinary. But if you want a fun flick, quick fun flick to enjoy, I recommend go seeing it. Just don't expect it to completely reinvent the wheel. Don't expect it to be one of the most memorable entries in the DC universe. But I don't think anyone did anyway, to be fair. But anyway, cheers for watching. Apologies if you fell for the clickbait, but not. I apologize. I just wanted to kind of, when I thought the idea, I just thought, oh, that's interesting. Let's see that. So I went and did it. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you got this far, leave a like, please. That would mean the world to me. I'm only a small channel. Um, Past 100 subscribers last month, and then ironically couldn't film for a while. New full length stuff, so this has been really good to film my first full length in a month. Is absolutely great. This has been great. Um, you can go watch the original trailer reaction if you'd like. If you've seen this, you can go watch that one, or watch any other fun video from me. Subscribe for more fun videos looking at different things in popular culture, which I enjoy and love. But that's about it. Cheers. Cheers for watching, and have a blessed day. And adios. Couldn't think of something relevant what could sign this off really well.